Time now for the Division III 112-pound championship match. You're looking at Greg Sonnentag of Cadott, a 36-4 freshman in the black and gold singlets. Taking on him is Chris Tremper of Park Falls, a senior, coming into this one with a record of 33-9. Tony Sonnentag, a name that's familiar to many wrestling fans, a finalist here a year ago in Division III at 103 pounds, where he was a loser in the finals, but back to the state championship, as we've seen many times in this championship round tonight. Guys getting there a year earlier as an underclassman make the return trip a year later. Sonnentag, one of those cases. Yeah,
Sonnentag obviously has a little bit of experience under his belt in the state tournament, especially in the finals. You said he was defeated last year in the finals, however, gains valuable experience in those finals. Normally, a wrestler will improve throughout his high school career, so it's no accident that Greg Sonnentag is back in the state finals again.
And just a sophomore now to make it back, so that's 2 for 2 as state final appearances for Sonnentag. Very impressive. We saw a freshman just win it at 103 pounds in Andrew Dahl. Greg Sonnentag looking to become a state champ as a sophomore. So right away tonight we're seeing youth served in these championship matches.
Yeah, that is impressive. Greg Sonnentag up in Cadott, he's coached by National Wrestling Hall of Fame member, Wisconsin Wrestling Hall of Fame member, Ed Leonard. So you know that Sonnentag, well coached, great individual, off the mat, on the mat, very successful. So it's nice to see people like that having success at the state tournament.
No score early on in this match between Sonnentag and Tremper. Tremper, another one of those cases, Tony, a sectional runner-up, battling through the early rounds. He got out of the preliminary round with a 7-4 victory, a close 4-2 quarterfinal victory, and how unusual in this, gets to the semis and scores a pinfall. So maybe gaining confidence and momentum through this tournament is Chris Tremper, the senior, who had to battle all the way from Friday, the morning session at 10 o'clock out of that preliminary round, and here he is 2 days later in the state finals.
Yeah, Sonnentag and Tremper wrestled last week, Joe, at sectionals. Sonnentag, obviously the sectional champion, he was the winner of that match. Not actually sure the score, how that match went, but here we have a tight 0-0 match so far through the first period.
And not a lot of big risks taken by either wrestler. Maybe, Tony, you get the sense of, as you mentioned, just wrestling a week ago, these guys very familiar with themselves. As any sports team who plays its opponent many times during the season, you get to the playoffs, it's tough to beat a team 2 or 3 times. Sonnentag and Tremper here, maybe a bit of a feeling out process in that first period.
Yeah, and I think that both these wrestlers, although Sonnentag has been in the state finals before, I think both of them are wrestling possibly a little bit more conservatively than they would maybe during the regular season.
Tremper taking referee's position to start the second period to his feet, but boy, what a turn of events there. Nearly exposure, and now we might be getting another turn. This is a wild sequence here, Tony. It looked like Tremper was out, then it looked like Sonnentag was going to turn him, and now Tremper back up on top again.
It looks like this is going to be no points as Sonnentag comes back up on top. I mean, that could have been reversal, near fall for Tremper. It could have been near fall for Sonnentag. Instead, we wind up with Tremper still on bottom.
So 1:23 remaining in the second period. Still, after all that, if you can believe it, no points, no change. Sonnentag still on top, as we'll have a caution here of a false start. Bench in the road to the finals for Chris Tremper. Greg Sonnentag, as Tony mentioned, a sectional champ, so automatically into the quarterfinal round Friday afternoon, where he was a winner via second period pinfall. Had a relatively easy go of it, as did Tremper in the semifinals. Sonnentag with a 11-3 win in the semis last night. So both these guys, Tony, have been dominating in this state tournament. Tremper having to do one extra match, but both looking very good to this point.
Yeah, they've kind of asserted themselves as the class of 112 pounds this year. Kind of surprising that Tremper comes in. Maybe on paper, not a lot of people would have picked him to make it to the finals out of that bottom side of the bracket. He comes in with 9 losses. However, he's been wrestling real well this weekend.
And we mentioned Andrew Dahl in the last match, and playing havoc with us poor announcers here. You look at who Chris Tremper wrestled in the first round, Austin Dahl. So not only do we have multiple Dahls here, they all start with the same first letter in A, and I think we've got more to come. So there's the confusion there, Tony, on your Andrew Dahl, and our friend here, Chris Tremper, wrestled one of the Dahls in the opening round here of this tournament.
Yeah, not to get away from the contestants right now in front of us, but that's got to be great for a family like the Dahls.
We're going to have a stalling call now on Chris Tremper on bottom, so Greg Sonnentag not scoring points from the top position, but is very close to extracting some points. If he can get one more stalling call, he will pick up a point. Obviously, the first stalling call is just a warning, and that's now what Sonnentag will have on Tremper as the second period comes. So 2 periods in the book here, Tony. No score. A bit of surprise to you that we haven't seen many points from these young, quicker athletes, 119-pounders. Sometimes they're 112-pounders. You'd think points would be flying up there, but this has been a battle, 0-0 with just 2 minutes to go.
It has a little bit different than the last match we had with 15 points being scored. Here we have none. Sonnentag does a great job of riding Tremper out the entire second period. So Tremper chooses down, gets ridden out. Now Sonnentag sort of in the driver's seat, tied going into the third period in the down position.
We mentioned Greg Sonnentag, a finalist a year ago here in these championships in a lower weight class. He was at 103 last year, where he was defeated in the state championships. Moves up a weight class, just a sophomore. Incredible that 2 years in high school, 2 strips to the coal center here in the state finals, looking to move from a second to a first with a win here tonight. But Chris Tremper of Park Falls, the 32-9, 33-9 senior, is giving him all this is worth, Tony. You'd have to think an escape right now could be the difference the way this thing's going.
It could. 1-0 could very well win this match. However, we can't write off Chris Tremper's riding skills as he's doing a pretty good job of riding right now.
I guess we should say Greg Sonnentag did it in the second period. Why couldn't Chris Tremper do it in the third period? As Tremper was trying to get out on that, I think he was trying to bar that arm, and Sonnentag ended up getting a leg, and now Sonnentag trying to scoot out like he's in on a leg takedown, Tony, and this could possibly turn into some points here for Greg Sonnentag, and it looks like it's gonna.
There's your 2 points. Greg Sonnentag goes up 2-0. Third period, 50 seconds left. Now Sonnentag, he's got the job of riding out his opponent for the last now 40 seconds, something that he did successfully the entire 2 minutes in the second period.
It looked like Tremper was in on at least he was advancing that arm bar or tilt he was working on, and Sonnentag saw an opening, kind of went out there like an outside single shot almost from your feet, and was able to finish it into a 2 points. So it went from a reversal to a takedown in the position Sonnentag was in.
Yep, now we got 21 seconds separating Greg Sonnentag from state title as he has his 2-0 lead. Chris Tremper's got to be thinking, you know, I need at least one so I can get on my feet, score a takedown. Not going to score. We're not going to get an escape or reversal when Sonnentag has him on the mat.
Yeah, that's a tough position to be in with this much time. Time may run out here, and Chris Tremper broken down like this, and it looks like time will expire in Chris Tremper. And Greg Sonnentag, state runner-up as a freshman. You can call him a state champion, Tony Black, as a sophomore. Very impressive to come back a year later and win that coveted state title.
Yeah, that was a very dominating 2-0 match. Never appeared to really be in danger. Did a great job. Probably had 2 minutes and 40 seconds of riding. Wins 2-0. Very convincing fashion.
Greg Sonnentag of Cadott, your champion at 112 pounds. Our Rebecca Gray standing by with the champion.
Thanks, Joe. I'm here with Greg Sonnentag. Now, you guys went in 0-0 into the third period. You got the reversal. How does it feel?
Feels great.
So, this is your first state championship? You have a...
Last year I took second.
Last year you took second. How did this year different from last year?
I don't know. This year I came in with confidence, thinking I can do it. Last year I didn't know what was going to happen, so.
Well, obviously you can do it. Congratulations. Back to you guys.
We move ahead now to 215 pounds in the black and gold singlet from Cadott with a record of 37-4, the senior Stefan Geisler. And opposing him from Stratford in the red singlet with a record of 40-0, the senior Dustin Bauman. Actually, I guess we'll call that orange, Kevin. And Bauman certainly with some success at the Kohl Center, finishing third a year ago at 189 pounds, losing to the young man we just saw moments ago, Rory Edge. His only loss of the 2005 state tournament, and Bauman looking to cap off 2006 with a state championship.
Yeah, Bauman came into the tournament last year with an undefeated record, and as you mentioned, was defeated by Edge. This year coming in again with an undefeated record, looking to add a gold medal to his repertoire after finishing in third place last year.
Interesting story for Dustin Bauman. He lost last year in the quarterfinals, or defeated in the quarterfinals, Ryan Newman, Ryan Newman from Somerset, or Justin Newman from Somerset, who is competing on the mat next to us in Division II for the 215-pound championship. So certainly a lot of history and a lot of competition in the last couple of years in this 215-pound championship weight class between Division II and III.
Yeah, Dustin Bauman last year at 189 pounds, now moves up to 215 pounds. A little bit more familiar weight class here for the Stratford fans is his brother Matt Bauman, who's a state champion in 2003 with an undefeated record of 42-0. So Dustin comes in right now 40-0, won't get that 42-0 like his brother Matt if he wins here, but still an impressive feat if he can go ahead and be undefeated at 215 pounds, just like his brother did a few years ago.
Quarterfinal major decision, 15-3 over Eli Waldmer of Montello. And in the semifinals last night, a good match with Chad Craycraft, a good senior from Crandon. 9-8 Craycraft steamrolled his way this morning in the consolation bracket to third place with a major decision. So that was a great semifinal win last night for Geisler, Kevin. See if that translates into some momentum here in the finals tonight.
Yeah, both these guys great athletes, 215 pounds. You know, the Wisconsin Wrestling Coaches Association was hoping that when they added the 215-pound weight class that they would get individuals like these two here to compete at this weight class. Both big individuals, but very athletic, move well on their feet. It won't be your typical big guy match as we see, you know, some of the heavyweight stereotypes. These guys move really well. They're quick on their feet, and they create a lot of motion, a lot of action. Even though we're scoreless right now, there's been a lot of action. These guys are moving. Geisler almost goes behind there. Bauman does a good job of squaring up and staying neutral there, so no points on the edge. But there's that little quickness factor that you'll see here at 215 pounds.
No score yet in this Division III 215-pound final, coming down to the final seconds of this first period. Geisler of Cadott and Bauman of Stratford as the score stays at 0 after 2 minutes. It's Geisler in the black and gold trimmed singlet will defer his choice to the third period. Bauman of Stratford in the orange and black singlet elects to go down and try to get the first points of the matchup with an escape here.
Yeah, the first point is paramount here in this match, because if you have a scoreless first period, the person who scores first is going to get choice in double overtime should it go that far. So these two wrestlers, neither one scoring a point on their feet. So Bauman chooses the bottom position to try to get that first point in case they do go into double overtime, knowing that they're closely matched here and there might not be a lot of scoring. So taking every advantage he can get. And he's up now. He's in on a leg, and he's looking to get a reversal out of this. Geisler's still in control, but now...
And Bauman close to the reversal here. You saw him take him down. Great job by Geisler, though, to somehow not surrender the reversal. But Bauman's still with the leg up. He's going to have to try to get something, and there it is. So Dustin Bauman, a nice move there on the edge of the mat, and he will get 2 reversal. And the first points of the match come via the reversal for the Stratford senior.
Yeah, and that was good technique there, Joe. He didn't panic. He turned and grabbed that leg of Geisler and was in a good position to finish. And Geisler did a good job of fighting it off, but Bauman stayed patient, stayed in good position, and just kept working, and eventually got that good hard finish like he needed on the edge of the mat there for the 2 reversals. So now he's on top, and he's running a power half, and he's looking to flatten Geisler out here and try to get some near fall points possibly, and continue on a dominating route here as he has so far throughout this tournament.
Another good example of the kids watching at home with that leg up, Kevin, is taking your time and not rushing the move. He was awfully patient, and it paid off in the end, and that was a great job, as you pointed out, by Bauman. A great technique of not forcing the move and not blowing your chance there, taking the time, setting up the finish you want, and getting a critical 2-point reversal in the state finals.
Yeah, we mentioned these two guys, great athletes. Dustin Bauman, not only a successful wrestler, but also a part of the Stratford football team that's won 3 straight state championships, including 42 games in a row. So he's played a big part in the last 3 years of the Stratford football team, as he's played both offense and defensive line for Stratford. So as we mentioned, 2 great athletes out here at 215 pounds.
Well, you mentioned the 215 pounds weight class, and it's a prototypical weight class for great athletes. I remember a young man by a couple years ago, people follow Wisconsin football by the name of Mike Newkirk,
who wrestled between 215 and 275 pounds. Kind of that same type of athlete. Was a great football player, translated into a couple of state championships. And Bauman, a very talented football player. And that's certainly translated. I guess us wrestling fans could say it translated over to being a good football player. The football fans will say it translated over to being a good wrestler. But in any event, a great two-sport star on display here in Dustin Bauman.
Exactly, and I talked with many coaches at the University of Wisconsin, and you know, as we know, former head coach Barry Alvarez loves wrestlers, especially on the offensive defensive line, because they know how to use their hands really well. They can move their feet quickly, and he just loves to get wrestlers, people who have wrestled in the past and usually had success wrestling, on their offensive line for the Wisconsin Badgers. So, you know, we would say that wrestling translates into good football players as well.
That's the answer I like to hear. So we go to this third period now, and